Welcome back to Buzzer to Buzzer.
All right, guys. So the third week of the 2020 NFL season has officially elapsed. In case you've not already checked out our Week 3 predictions video, be sure to check that out before you watch this video. However, today we're going to be going over See Who Was Right, doing an analysis of the 4 out of the 5 key matchups we discussed. Now, why are we leaving one, that being the Chicago Bears analysis, out? Well, that's because later this week we have a very special episode coming out with another YouTuber in order to talk about the whole situation going on with the Bears. So stay tuned for that. However, today, let's get on towards the key matchups. All right, guys. So the first key matchup which we're going to be talking about is going to be between the New England Patriots and the Las Vegas Raiders. Now, guys, the Patriots did win that game 36-20. And as you guys can see, all of us predicted the Patriots to win besides a B. So, guys, what are our general thoughts about this game?
Cam Newton's looking like a really good fit with the New England Patriots. Those are words I never thought I'd say. When he first got signed on, I thought it was an odd fit. Cam Newton's so outspoken. He's a vibrant person. And New England Patriots are usually known to be kind of reserved and conservative. But, the pairing has worked, obviously. They've put up a lot of points. Their offense looking really good. Their defense looking just as good as last year. I just think it's a really good overall team win.
It's interesting to see, right? Like Arian mentioned it, the Patriots, Cam Newton, fantastic pick. Rex Burkhead actually had a fantastic day too. But I'm more interested with the losing team here, the Las Vegas Raiders. It's hard to get a read on them after 3 games. They beat the Saints, but then they lose to the Patriots. Did they beat the Saints because they were missing Michael Thomas, or did they have a bad game against the Patriots? This Raiders team is going to be interesting to watch these coming weeks because they're either looking like a playoff team or a team that will be picking top 10 in the draft. But it's very interesting to see what's going to happen.
All right, so the reason I picked the Raiders is because when Darren Waller performed exceptionally well game 2, I thought he would do the same thing game 3. Yeah, I know it was against Patriots defense, but if it was against Saints, they both have good defenses, right? So I wasn't really expecting him to get locked down like that. Plus, Josh Jacobs and Darren Waller were both questionable for the game, so I think their performance wasn't really a good measure on how they usually do. And as Harsh said too, I didn't realize it, or I didn't expect Rex Burkhead to do that well. 2 touchdowns, 80 yards. Cam Newton wasn't the best player on that team. I think it was Rex Burkhead.
For sure. First I'm going to talk about Arnie's point. This New England Patriots team, it's looking quite different in the terms of just the energy. You can feel the vibe being different than those Tom Brady days. You see Bill Belichick all of a sudden publicly supporting his quarterback and his casting. I feel like it's awesome to see the New England Patriots having success and give much credit to not only Rex Burkhead, but also Sonny Mitchell. Although he didn't get the touchdowns, he helped them move the ball down the field a ton. And although Cam Newton even had that 1 interception, I felt like it was a great game for the Patriots, and they can definitely have some more success. All right, guys. Now let's move on to the second matchup, which we are going to be talking about, that being between the Seattle Seahawks and the Dallas Cowboys, in which the Seattle Seahawks took the victory, going up 3-0, winning 38-31 against America's hometown team. Now, guys, we saw some exceptional performances from both sides, with Dak Prescott not only throwing for 450-plus yards, but Russell Wilson proven to be Russell Wilson once again, throwing for 5 touchdowns and a massive 315 yards. What are general thoughts on this game?
So, I just also want to say that Russell Wilson broke a record in the first 3 games, scoring 14 touchdowns. That's MVP numbers right there. If you say that Russell Wilson is not the front runner for the MVP race in the first 3 games, you're just crazy or you're just biased or whatever. His performance has been insane. Honestly, he could have had 6 touchdowns if that DK thing didn't really happen, but we don't talk about that. And credit to the Cowboys too. I knew that it was going to be a high-scoring game as Seahawks defense. Neither of their defenses are great. Seahawks are missing some players. Jamal Adams went out late 3rd quarter too. So, it was a close game the whole game. And, it's good that the Seahawks are 3-0.
Yeah, I just want to say, Russell Wilson's putting up MVP-type numbers, obviously. He's obviously the front runner, no doubt. But, can we give credit to Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf? I mean, those receivers have
Yes,
taken a
sir.
big jump this year. Tyler Lockett's getting open down the field. DK Metcalf is proving to be an elite target for Russell Wilson. And this whole team's coming into form now. One thing to note, Chris Carson did get injured, and they're obviously the Seahawks are a big running team, and so that's going to be something to look forward to. How can they adjust to that? But otherwise, it was a good win.
Yeah, fantastic showing of the Seattle Seahawks and what they're truly capable of. But let's talk about the Dallas Cowboys on that other side. It's interesting to see how uncharacteristically low the Dallas Cowboys ran the ball. I think they only ran the ball 15 or 17 times compared to passing the ball, I think, around 50 times. I think that's very uncharacteristic of a Dallas Cowboys team that has Ezekiel Elliott in the backfield. And I think Mike McCarthy needs to utilize Ezekiel Elliott more as a running back instead of a wide receiver in order to have more successful games. Credit to the Seattle defense, though. They did manage to, limit Dak Prescott in some way. That was enough for Russell Wilson to outscore them.
Man, I've said it before, saying it again. DK Metcalf, he was slept upon so hard. Week and week again. This man's showing he's an elite wide receiver. I mean, those catches which he's catching, looking like Randy Moss out there, so deep, running into the field and catching those bombs from Russell Wilson, receiving for 110 yards, catching that touchdown. It would have been one more if he didn't get too showing it off too much right there. But we don't talk about that like Abi said. Where we obviously saw the greatness of Russell Wilson once again. And I'm not going to lie, he's number one right now in that MVP race. Is it a huge margin? No. But is he number one? Of course he is right now. And also give credit to Dak Prescott. Although his team has been on and off, they're 1-2 right now. Personally, he's been showing he's a big-time quarterback. And I could see that contract deal getting done soon. All right, guys, let's move on to our third key matchup, which we predicted, that being between the Green Bay Packers and the New Orleans Saints, who, to say the least, look a bit confused and lost without their star receiver, Michael Thomas. Now, guys, the Packers did end up winning this game 37-30, a relatively high-scoring game with exceptional performances from Aaron Rodgers and Drew Brees. Now, guys, the question has to be asked, is this a trend for the New Orleans Saints without Michael Thomas?
I mean, I wouldn't say it's a trend for New Orleans without Michael Thomas. I think Michael Thomas is so critical to that offense because, Drew Brees doesn't have that arm strength he used to have earlier in his career. I mean, for the past 3-4 years, I don't think Drew Brees has thrown a single throw for more than 35 air pass yards, which is something, that usually a quarterback in the NFL has and determining his, longevity in the league. But I do believe that, the Saints offense is going to be fine once Michael Thomas returns. And they did show some signs of revival late in that third and fourth quarter. Although they lost, it seemed like they were starting to pick it up, get a feel for how they should run the offense without Michael Thomas. I think it's just a matter of time till Michael Thomas comes back and they should be back on track.
I'm going to talk about the Packers here. I mean, man, Aaron Rodgers looking like 2011 Aaron Rodgers. They didn't even have Devontae Adams, and they still put up 37 points. They're looking like a very, very complete team. And, I think they're my favorites to come out of the NFC to represent the NFC in the Super Bowl. I think it's them or the Seahawks. But Aaron Rodgers is looking crazy right now. The defense is playing really well as a unit. And, yeah, that's all I got to say.
Yeah, for sure. I think that like a lot of people doubted how good the Packers and Aaron Rodgers would be this year. Like, he slumped last year. Like, how are they going to do? The team's going to fall apart. But like, none of that's true. Like, the Packers obviously are 3-0, beat the Saints, who many people are favorites or were favorites before Michael Thomas was out. So like, yeah, and Aaron Rodgers. Speaking of him, I mean, like, what can this man not do? Like, he's a. What happened? Oh,
I got the 10% notification.
Yeah, what can Aaron Rodgers not do? Like, especially what Arian said, without Devontae Adams, or star wide receiver, still beating a team like the Saints, who still have a great defense, even with their other offense is not complete right now. You can't disregard the Saints defense. It's one of the top 10 in my opinion. Packers just like, yeah, they're just looking like a threat to every single team in the league.
I'm gonna take a quote from Michael Jordan's Last Dance documentary. Aaron Rodgers, when the Packers selected Jordan Love, he took it personally. And if that's not clear by now, Ari, the reason why Aaron Rodgers is looking like 2011 Super Bowl Aaron Rodgers is simply because of that fact. He's showing the world that, hey, I had an offseason last year, but I'm back and better than ever, putting up 3 touchdowns, throwing for nearly 300 yards without even a star receiver, Devontae Adams. The Packers are definitely showing that they're here playing no games and I can definitely see them advancing to the Super Bowl. However, it's for sure going to be a tough fight against teams like the Seahawks. All right, guys, and let's move on to our final game, which we predicted last week, and we hoped that it would have been the best game of the season. Now, it's questionable if it was, that being between the Kansas City Chiefs, led by Patrick Mahomes, against the Baltimore Ravens, led by Lamar Jackson, in which the Chiefs ended up winning 34-20 with a massive and great performance from Patrick Mahomes, recovering from the past 2 weeks, showing that, hey, he was a Super Bowl MVP and put on a heck of a show, while we did not see Lamar Jackson really find his groove. What are our general thoughts about this game, and are the Chiefs really the kryptonite for the Ravens?
What did I say last week? What did I say? I told you the Chiefs were going to blow out the Ravens. Lamar Jackson, okay, this might be a controversial take, but Lamar Jackson doesn't have an arm. His arm is as good as Trubisky's, no doubt.
Oh,
You know, the only thing he makes up with that for is his legs, right? And the Chiefs, their defense, they blitzed the whole game. Lamar Jackson had to go to the edges, and he couldn't run. He couldn't establish the running game. And Ravens' offense is built to play from what's it called? Well, let me restart that part. The Ravens' offense is not built to play from behind. And once Patrick Mahomes got going, you knew the game was over. I think we all knew in the second quarter Patrick Mahomes was going to win this game. So I don't think this is going to be a showing of what's going to happen in the playoffs.
Yeah, as you said, Ryan, I don't think not just the Chiefs are the kryptonite to the Ravens. I think the Chiefs are kryptonite to like any team in the league, honestly.
Yeah.
I mean, Pat Mahomes, I think like everyone was like kind of questioning him, like, oh, he put up a bad performance against the Chargers. They almost lost. Like, what's gonna happen? Is he in a slump or something? But like, no, that was just one game. Like, he's over that. I overestimated the Ravens defense, honestly, especially against Pat Mahomes and their offense too. Like Lamar, he got like shut down. He doesn't have an arm, like Arian said too. I have to agree with that. I don't know if it's worse than Trubisky's, but he definitely like is not an accurate QB. Running is a strong suit, and teams are gonna figure him out soon, very soon.
It's interesting to see how Patrick Mahomes bounced back. Now that looking back at week 2 and week 3, it might not have been a slump for Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. It may have been more an underplanning because they thought they were playing the Chiefs. Chiefs aren't regarded as a highly touted like offense or defense, but they came out there and they balled against the Chiefs, and the Chiefs were caught off guard, and it took some good halftime playing to give them a competitive chance and eventually win in overtime. And I think, the Ravens being the Ravens, they weren't going into that game underestimating anyone, especially with the scare they had last week underestimating the Chargers. I don't think Patrick Mahomes had a slump. I think they were just underestimating the Chargers.
For sure. We saw Patrick Mahomes throw for 4 touchdowns, just looking like a different quarterback. I mean, we don't talk about the part that somebody here benched him in our fantasy league, but besides that, those past 2 weeks were so not representative of what this man's capable of. And this week, he reminded everybody that, hey, he is the greatest, potentially in the league right now, the greatest quarterback against, there's some others like Russell Wilson and all that. But also, I want to point out the Ravens offense. Can we talk about how many catches Mark Andrews dropped throughout that game? I mean, Lamar Jackson, I don't know if you can say like he doesn't have an arm. For sure he has a better arm than Trubisky, that's to say the least. But the amount of incompletions which him and Mark Andrews had, that just wasn't right. I felt like that connection wasn't going, that chemistry wasn't there. That's why they couldn't get their offense rolling, and ultimately the Chiefs just rolled over them.
Now I want to make one more point really quick. If you watch the post-game conference for Lamar Jackson, he said that the Chiefs played the same defense as the Titans did. And obviously we remember what happened in the playoff game with the Titans, right? And I feel like there's a game plan starting to form for each of these teams that play the Ravens. You blitz a lot, you play good man coverage, and you force Lamar Jackson to throw the ball. I mean, it's been working for both these teams, and I expect it to keep on working in the future.
Yeah. Also, I just want to point this out is that before the Ravens versus the Chiefs, or even now, the Ravens are considered top 3 defenses right now with the weapons that they have, and the fact that Pat Mahomes made the Ravens seem like the Lions or the Bengals, that just shows his potential, honestly. And I would have to say that the Chiefs should have an easy Super Bowl road. I don't really think there's another team in the AFC that can stop them.
I don't want to, be talking about Patrick Mahomes. I don't want to give him all the credit. Yeah, he's a fantastic player. I mean, we got to talk about that O-line. We got to talk about Travis Kelce, Tyreek Hill, Sammy Watkins, McCole Hardman, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Like, they're all fantastic players, developing into greater players every single game. And I think that is a critical part of that fantastic offense.
For
Yeah.
sure. It's what makes the Chiefs one of the scariest teams in the NFL. They not only have an amazing quarterback, but an all-around team who can get the job done. And we saw nothing less this past Monday. All right, guys. Boy, was that a great and might even be one of the best weeks of football we might see in a while, considering this upcoming week 4. However, nevertheless, we will still be making predictions about some top 5 key matchups coming soon. And on the screen right now, you can see our cumulative record predictions. Currently, all 4 of us are in a 4-way tie, with all of us getting 11 games correct and incorrectly predicting 4 games. It'll be interesting to see as more and more games go on, who is more correct and who is the best analyst here. As always, guys, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and comment down below your main takeaways from the key games we discussed. Are we going to see a trend continue for the Ravens or any other games that you want to talk about? As always, guys, take care, and we'll catch you guys on the next one. See you guys.